So as usual, we'll start it off with a pretty textbook example of hitting the weak side fill, which results in a 3-pointer in this case. Then we'll break down, kind of dissect how this read actually works so well. So we're starting off exactly the same, right? Sue Bird on the wing here, patient, sets up a solid ball screen. Natasha Howard is going to roll hard straight to the basket. But now we're not just looking at this little 2-man game, this little 2-on-2 section of the court. Remember, there's 6 other players out there. In this case, we're watching McBride, this defender here, as she comes over to help on the roll. And I don't want to get into the defense too much in this video because that's just too much information, but this is a pretty common help, that low person on the strong side coming to help on the roll, because the last thing the defense wants to give up is that easy, wide open layup. And when that low defender comes over to help on the roll, she's leaving her player from the corner wide open. So we can see how, because of that help, now we got 3 defenders essentially guarding the pick and roll, and Jewell Loyd is left wide open on that weak side wing. And if you're that person in the corner, it's important to rise up as the screen is happening, because 1, you get max distance away from the defense, right? You can see how much space she has for the shot, and you're just making yourself available for the pass. This is a much easier pass than throwing it all the way back into that corner. So same concepts here, where that pick and roll is drawing so much attention from the defense and the help defense that weak side fill is what's left open. So as we go, we got the pick and roll action, this 2-on-2 right here. And we can see exactly how a good pick and roll opens up this option so much. So as Kylie Shook here sets a good solid screen and then rolls hard to the basket, she drags this help defender down with her, because otherwise she would have the wide open layup. And as that defender drops, obviously she's leaving her player open at the top. And it's great to understand why this works, but in the heat of the game, it can be as simple as recognizing that this roller is crowded in the paint, surrounded by 2 defenders, while my fill behind has all the space and time in the world to knock down this 3. It's essentially a matter of running that pick and roll so well that they have to respect it and help, and then finding where the help is coming from. This clip is a really good example of why it's so important to understand and recognize this read, because they don't do it. And it's essentially because the pick and roll is being guarded so well that we know the defense is probably leaving something else open. So Whitcomb gets the ball coming off this handoff / ball screen, and while it definitely can work, she's forcing it a little bit to hit this pick and roll. You can see the whole key is just crowded with defense. And even if that pass does get through, you're likely setting up your teammate for a pretty tough situation. So in watching this back and learning from mistakes, which is what we should be doing with film, I would think, okay, next time instead of forcing that pass into the key, I might hit that open fill on the weak side, or even this other shooter in the corner. Both just easier, more high percentage options for the next time that I recognize and catch myself in that similar situation. This clip is a little bit different in that it doesn't just result in that catch and shoot 3, but we're hitting the weak side fill to find a mismatch in the post. And obviously it helps to have 6'8" Brittany Griner on your team, but you can still exploit mismatches like this. So these 2 that are defending the ball screen are going to switch, which is what leads to the mismatch in the first place. And that just means we've got the small guard defending our taller post. And initially we're still hitting that weak side fill. As we can see, this help defender is dropping low a little bit to help on that roll. Making that pass in from the top right now, very difficult. So we hit that fill behind on the wing, which the defense then does a good job recovering out to, but we've got a better angle to pass into the post for that mismatch, which in this case Griner easily takes advantage of, shooting over the smaller defender. And this last clip will look very similar to the first. And we can see how when both the ball handler and the screener are both a threat, that is what really opens up that weak side fill option. So referring to these 2 attacking hard with the ball and on the roll, which forces the defense to help, particularly this defender, as she has to drop to help guard Griner on that roll, which again means she's leaving her player to go help, which in this case that's a knockdown shooter. Cunningham does a good job rising from the corner, being available for that pass. So we can see how from that pick and roll being such a strong threat, instead of forcing the issue with it, use it to open up that weak side fill for the shot. Then it's just catch and shoot, easy money.